Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Marketing the Invisible. I'm Tom Poland, joined today by Jeremy Hurewitz. Jeremy, very warm welcome from down under, sir. Where are you hanging out?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York, home of the Who. What's the team you're supporting there?
Home of the Who, and what team am I supporting?
The baseball team that you support is?
I'm a big Yankees fan, New York Yankees.
Yankees. Okay, cool. Go the Yankees. How about them Yankees?
Absolutely.
All right. So, folks, off baseball, which is one of Jeremy's passions, on to business. Jeremy's Sell Like a Spy program is very, very clever, by the way, Jeremy. The whole positioning of that, it's unique and it's clever and it's insightful. Folks, we're going to learn more about it in a moment. Help salespeople connect more deeply and overcome challenges by leveraging spy tradecraft. A former journalist and consultant, Jeremy is the founder of Challenger Hill Consulting and the creator of Sell Like a Spy, which is the title of our little interview here. Jeremy, thank you for being here. Our 7 minutes is going to start now, sir. Question number one, who is your ideal client?
Well, I think the ideal client would be a B2B company with a revenue recurring retainer-based sales model with, fairly big ticket, 5, 6, 7-figure sales models. That's a lot of the sales that I've done. It means that a sales organization should be investing heavily in relationship development, both in the early stages of recruiting the client and then retaining the client. There's a saying that a good spy re-recruits their agent at every meeting. So it's not just about closing that initial deal. But I have built Sell Like a Spy for more transactional, quicker sales, whether it's for product or for smaller revenue sales. One of the spies that I worked with to develop this, we talked about this, and she talked about how if she had only an hour with an Iranian scientist in a hotel in Vienna, she would leverage the same skills in tradecraft to connect with that person, even if she had months to do it. So it's a question of just making it more abbreviated. But specifically, to circle back to your initial question, it's about, B2B, bigger ticket sales organizations are probably the most ideal client.
Perfect. Thank you for that. 6 minutes left. What would you say? How would you define the problem you solve for those organizations?
Well, I think I help solve the problem of greater connectivity with client bases. So, having come from the business development world, with leavened with a healthy dose of intelligence, having worked in corporate security consulting, I've done many sales trainings, and I frankly found them to be not that effective. I think a lot of the people who do the trainings are not necessarily socially gifted people who have sold a lot themselves, in my experience. And I think that you don't have to be the most, loquacious person to be a great salesperson. But I think that the market for sales training is overly data driven. And I'm trying to solve for creating a little bit more of emotional connectivity to really get to know clients and overcome some of the problems that result in human to human contact.
Very interesting, because humans buy, right? Organizations don't actually buy. Humans, individuals buy, and we are often emotionally driven and so on. So what would you say are some of the typical symptoms? This is question 3 that your ideal clients are experiencing before they engage with you. We've got over 4.5 minutes left. What's going on in the organization that will give them a heads up that they should really find out more about what you do?
Well, either you're an inexperienced salesperson and you've been given kind of a roadmap about how to sell, or you're an experienced salesperson who's kind of had the same bag of tricks for a while. But I think that same data-driven approach to sales has kind of corrupted the way we might approach things a little bit. And there are tools in the toolkit of emotional intelligence and connecting with people that I help people discover inside themselves that are very innate that they can bring out, such as humanizing yourself. I spent a lot of time on that, and people really connect to that idea. So I think that people also wind up just kind of doing the same behaviors, but doing it more intensely, or they get a little bit upset, or they point figures. And I am helping people kind of, solve these problems and get around some of these issues with new tools to put in their toolkit.
So if you've got, say, a sales director in an organization and it's big ticket items, like you said, they're expensive, how would that person know they need to talk to you? What's going on with their sales team? Are they just sales ratios, conversion ratios dropping? Salespeople saying they don't have connections? What's going on there, do you think?
Well, I mean, it varies organization to organization, but I think that people wind up again pursuing their narrow lane about how they sell, and they might
Okay.
think this person doesn't want to be sold to, and they're just a jerk or something like that. Whereas,
Right.
I talk a lot about that, and there's a quote from Abraham Lincoln: "I don't like that person. I must get to know him better." So you start with that as a challenge, and you think about how
Right.
spies leverage radical empathy to connect with criminals, terrorists, diplomats from some terrible places. They overcome significant challenges to make their
Yeah.
very particular sale. So there's no
Yeah.
reason that you selling a software or something can't overcome a challenge as well. So I think that helps inspire.
So that might lead us nicely to question 4. 3 minutes left. Common mistakes that individuals, organizations make when trying to solve this problem. I guess one of them is blaming the prospect. What else?
Yeah.
What else have you got that people try that just flat out isn't going to work?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that I've talked about before, again, rote behaviors that they're taught to do, call 3 times and then give up, or send the following email with the following language, and I teach people, look, that might work and that's a great template. And I know you have to hit 100 emails or whatever, but take a look at their LinkedIn, profile and see if they're a University of Kentucky basketball fan or something, and see if you can, find something that you can bring into an email or a cold outreach call that can create a little bit
Right.
more of a personal connectivity. So
Oh, gosh,
I'm trying
yes.
to disrupt that space a little bit
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
offer some different thoughts.
And that goes back to that empathy you're talking about with the spy in the hotel or the terrorist or whatever. It's
Yeah, they
fascinating.
say empathy is the WD-40 of communications.
It really lubricates it very well. So question 5, valuable for reaction, like a top tip. 1 minute 45 left. What's one quick tip you could give folks?
Yeah, just a quick one to kind of, tip of the iceberg, but mirroring is taught in sales context. That's the physical replication of somebody's behavior. It subconsciously, it's been shown in behavioral science that it will shortcut the rapport building cycle and create a little bit more connectivity. So if your client's leaning forward, elbows on the table, you want to mirror that. And so I talk about that, but I talk about what I call the varsity level mirroring, verbal mirroring, which I also have a partner from the FBI, a former chief hostage negotiator, and we talk extensively about how FBI hostage negotiators leverage verbal mirroring to connect with people when they can't be face-to-face with them, but you can be face-to-face in the sales context, but leveraging some of the same words. And I have some tricks that I teach about, really doing that well is something to really think about to connect with people. So start with basic physical mirroring and then talk with me about verbal mirroring to take that to the next level.
So the sorts of phrases or words that they use on a regular basis, you drop them into your responses and questions, and that would be
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but it's about particularly
Sure.
looking for colloquialisms and pet words, right?
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Valuable free resource, folks. I'm going to answer this for the sake of time. Go to selllikeaspy.net. You're going to find a fascinating video there on Jeremy. You can connect with him on LinkedIn as well. Selllikeaspy.net. 20 seconds left, Jeremy. What's the one question I should have asked you but didn't?
Sales quotas and how everybody is just chasing a sales quota. It could be a bad market. It could be a tough time for the product or service you're selling. You could be the greatest salesperson in the world and not attain your quota. So maybe you could ask me why sales has such a high turnover, and I'd start pointing to that.
Jeremy, thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Been interesting. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out our Marketing the Invisible podcast. If you like what we're doing here, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to generate 5 fresh leads in just 5 hours, then check out www.5hourchallenge.com.